Hello and welcome to Revamped, a rewatch podcast covering my all-time favorite shows and movies. I'm your host, Brandon Alexander.
And I'm your co-host, Courtney Autumn.
Together, we've been journeying through Buffy the Vampire Slayer, patrolling the streets of Sunnydale, but now our path expands beyond the Hellmouth as we continue to follow Buffy's battles and growth.
We also step into the shadowy streets of Los Angeles to join Angel on his quest for redemption and his fight to discover what it truly means to be a champion.
Venture with us through every episode in order as we experience the story from two perspectives, Courtney's first time watch and my seasoned rewatch, doubling down on the themes and moments that shape the Buffyverse.
We'll examine pivotal choices, major story arcs, and explore the deeper layers of each show's continued character growth and development.
All while engaging in conversations and sharing our own authentic thoughts and feelings to what's unfolding before us.
So sharpen your stakes, ready your swords,
and continue to stand with us against the forces of darkness as we journey through the supernatural worlds of Buffy the Vampire Slayer
and Angel.
Let's get into this episode. Freddie said, "Hello, guys. Welcome back to Revamped."
That was good.
He's going to say, meow, 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 meow. Hey guys, for real, welcome back to another episode of Revamped. This week we're here to cover Angel, Season 1, Episode 11.
Somnambulist.
When I was younger, I used to always say somnambulist, not somnambulist. Or somnambulist.
Somnambulist.
I mean, I guess it's all the same.
You were like really enunciating it, you mean?
Yeah, a little nuts for the bebs. This episode aired also on January 18th, 2000. Happy New Year. We've left the 90s again. For those people that might only listen to our Angel coverage because they're like, fuck Buffy, you know?
Who would do that?
Hopefully nobody. This episode was written by Tim Minear and directed by 𝐒𝐴𝐻 In this episode, a series of ritualistic murders dredges up painful memories from Angel's past, leading him to fear he may somehow be connected to the killings. As Kate pursues a relentless serial killer and uncovers unsettling truths, Angel is forced to confront the lasting consequences of the monster he once was and the legacy that he left behind. Pretty accurate, huh?
Yes.
Before I forget, we were just saying who doesn't and does watch Angel. You're like, who would do that? You know, not watch Buffy. Kayla messaged me earlier a screenshot of her watching City of, and she's like, just so you know, I'm starting the series now, so I'm gonna watch it. And I'm like, all right, great. Text me whenever you watch episode 8, which was I will remember you. I was like, text me whenever you watch it, episodes 18 and 19. I was like, or you can text me whenever. She goes, oh no, remember we're best friends now, so I'm gonna message you all the time about all kinds of things. And I'm like, oh shit. So if you're listening, hello, Kayla. The guest stars for this episode of Angel, we have Jeremy Renner. Do you know who he is? No? All right, great. Everyone else does. Well, he's portraying Penn this episode. He's known very vastly throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Hawkeye. He's the guy that pairs up with Black Widow all the time, and he shoots the arrows and all of that.
Okay.
That's really predominantly what I know him from. He was like in that Hansel and Gretel movie, not the scary one, like the Gretel and Hansel Demon Hunters or Vampire Hunters or whatever the fuck that one is. He was the guy in that. He was in the original Dahmer movie. I think he played Dahmer. He's in a bunch of other stuff too, but I really only know him as Hawkeye, and he's bullshit lame in that movie. So if you guys love that character, I'm so sorry. I hate him in Black Widow. They're just like my least favorite in the Marvel in the MCU. Yeah. And then we have Nick McCallum as the skateboard kid. So just to say, I was reading through some stuff and I was like, I'm gonna put this little dude in here and give him his flowers because he's labeled in the script as skateboard kid. He's not, he doesn't have like a name or anything like that. And I try to like give people their flowers when they're in this show, like as I have done in the past. So, you know, here we got skateboard kid. I hope he skateboarded off into the distance after he, you know, got his treatment done at the hospital after getting that neck wound taken care of. Either way, obviously for this episode, so now you have the idea of what was going on with the whole sleepwalking idea. Somnambulist. Somnams.
Yes.
Did you like it?
It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, that's for sure. Like, I feel like the sleepwalking thing was obviously just like it ended up being like a background topic almost kind of thing. Ish. Mm-hmm. In reference to how I was thinking about it. I was thinking like, either there was going to be like a sleepwalking demon situation or Angel was going to be sleepwalking throughout like most of the episode. Like, I just pictured it
Like
differently.
physically somebody was going to be seen on the screen sleepwalking around or doing actions and things, but it's more like the concept of he's potentially
I
getting
know
up at
there's
night
more of
and
like a hypnotic like thing behind it. So I know that like what you're saying, like the concept of it is definitely there, obviously. But I just pictured it in my head differently when
it's
we were
not like
doing
legit.
𝐒𝐤𝐴𝑚 predicts. I was like, this seems more like, Angel wakes up in the middle of the night and does like I did when I was sleepwalking and just is caught standing in the kitchen with a bag of Doritos, like
Oh, that was what
just
she was
eating.
doing.
Hell yeah. My mom would just, she said she would just find me in the kitchen eating some snacks. She's like, what are you doing? And she said I wouldn't respond to her. I would just stare at her and then I'd put the snacks away and I would go back to my bedroom. And I would have no recollection of this. I'd be like, the fuck? And she's like, you just did this last night. I'm like, what?
Damn, I ain't never had
No.
that issue. I can't even sleep hard enough to like not hear stuff or
I
wake
don't
up,
think I've done it in
let
a long
alone
time.
walk around and stuff. I've definitely woken up like a zombie and went to the bathroom and like came back in, or like, I don't know, shut the window blinds and not realize I did in the middle of the night or something like that. I'm like, damn, I was that sleepy. I got up and did that and don't even remember like closing it. Or this was here whenever I went to bed and I got up and moved it because my water bottle was over on the coffee table. I'm like, when did I get up and drink water? You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Normally that does not happen to me though. So I thought that was
Yeah.
interesting. You said that last episode when we were doing 𝐒𝐤𝐴𝑚 predicts about how you did that as a kid. So I was like, oh, that's a new information, you guys, that I did not know about Courtney, just to say. I did not know that she used
I guess
to
it doesn't
sleepwalk.
come up all the time.
I love it though, because like through the randomness of this podcast, I found out more details within the 16-year friendship that we've had. So now I can just like start making up all these extra stories. Like, I what I like to do about like whenever we're in a public setting, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, and Courtney used to sleepwalk and then this happened. And I'll start making up all kinds of crazy shit.
You're like, I totally found her in the kitchen eating a bag of Doritos.
Yes, when we were children and didn't know each other.
Exactly.
No, I'm just gonna play it out like I knew it. Yeah. Okay. So a big reveal this episode, though. Like I will say, this episode it does give a little bit of filler stuff. There's not a lot going on. It doesn't really contribute to the overall story arcs for everything. It's not like a drive the season forward type thing. But one element that it has is Kate finds out that Angel's a vampire.
Yeah.
I don't remember when we covered episode 2 of Angel. I'm like, what was that? It's the one with the fucking parasite demon that I always forget. 𝐄𝐩𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬 and all the other things. Damn, what's that episode called, Courtney? What was your favorite episode?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know, which is bad because typically I remember all the other episodes of Angel, but it was episode 2. I do know that. But Kate was learning Angel because she was like crushing on him in the club and all that stuff, and he helped her out by the end, and we've seen him helping her out, and her kind of like help. I don't know, it's a scratch your back, I'll scratch yours type thing, like reciprocal action we've been getting with them. And she's been a person that's been there on the front line for him, to where if he needs like police help, he can call her and talk to her for a second, or if she happens to see him around a scene that is kind of what's leading towards more unexplainable vibes, then she's kind of noticed that Angel's been around and been like, hey, like we can help each other out type thing, yada yada yada. What I was trying to call back to was, I don't remember if you, 𝐒𝐤𝐴𝑚, predicted anything, or I asked you anything like, what do you think Kate ever finds out Angel's a vampire? I don't remember asking you that. I may have, because if I can't even remember the title to episode 2, then
I don't know. Has that come up?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really remember. Everybody's probably like, yes, y'all talked about it. We've been waiting to find out. We knew about Kate finding out, and we needed to know.
They're going to be trashing us in the comments. Like, what is wrong with y'all?
For
Stop
real.
smoking weed.
No, it's time to hit the vape pen right now. Mandatory vape sash.
Oh, God.
Yeah, definitely not that. It's called Lonely Heart. Lonely Heart. Yes. Yeah. Now I remember. Everybody's there. They were screaming at us. As I've been saying every episode, they're like yelling at us. These 5 people that listen to us. But I don't know if we said that or not. And here we are, though, like finding it out wise. Did you assume maybe one day that Kate might find out something about the supernatural world? Or did you think it would stay kind of like mundane scope? Like she would stay in her lane and Angel would kind of like keep covering his tracks. Did you think that they would cross paths in this way and like everything would be out in the open one day?
Honestly, I've never given it much thought for some reason. I guess initially because I didn't know the role that Kate was going to play like routinely or not. So since she's not there every episode, since she's not there every episode, I think that's like why I never really thought about if she finds out. But to be honest, I confused myself too, because I found myself questioning whether she knows or not leading up to the reveal when it's like about to happen, and that he's like Angel's vamp face, and they haven't just yet like turned to face each other, but you know it's about to happen. And in that moment, I was like, wait, does she know that he's a vampire? Like, I couldn't even remember if this has come up yet or not. So I don't know if I didn't even question it, because maybe in my head I thought she already knew. I don't know. But anyway, so I didn't even consider it. And it took me by surprise, obviously, because now I'm on the journey. Like, I can't remember what the hell's happened if she knows. And then you can tell by her face that she's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Very interesting for the story and how it's going to continue, I feel. So I'm looking forward to that part. But her reaction, I mean, I guess it's like, we'll get there, but it was initially, I was like, damn, almost not expecting her reaction to be the way that it was. But then after a second, it makes sense. I'm coming from the standpoint of like being in the thick of all the seasons of Buffy we've covered and now going into this show, so I'm very used to what's happening. But yeah, so I didn't really expect her initial reaction to the reveal, but after I thought about it, I was like, well, that makes sense. I can't imagine reacting differently.
I have a piece centered around it once we get to it, just to like to speak on it and stuff too.
Yeah.
So maybe we can collect thoughts more there. Something I did notice too, like honestly, just in the conversation of us talking now, they kind of work side by side in a way, but like episode 11, Doomed of Buffy, and this episode, they both are Riley and Buffy, and then Kate and Angel are kind of finding out about they're getting the reveals of secrecy, like, which I actually did not notice really that much.
That's so interesting, and kind of in the same fashion too, where they're like working together without knowing they're working together in a way,
like on the same side of the fight type thing, which
exactly.
I mean, obviously they're both detectives and like their own way and stuff like that, but I thought that was interesting to kind of call out, like, that I noticed, and that's strange. But I also feel like the show maybe possibly, I wouldn't say does it to make a big parallel between the two, but it's interesting that the same episodes essentially, I mean, I know they found out about each other in episode 10 Hush on Riley and Buffy spectrum, but they dealt with the aftermath of like the conversation therefore around it and like the upset of it, and that was in episode 11, and then this one's also episode 11 where Kate's dealing on her own solo journey with like the upset of that type of stuff. So I thought that was really cool. A lot of people don't really, and this is just what I've gathered, I feel like mostly from other podcasters, they tend to like not really like this episode, like review wise. I'm not saying that it's the bottom of the barrel or that it's skip worthy or anything like that, but people, I don't think, care for this one quite as much storyline wise and stuff. A lot of people, I don't really want to spoil it. Like I always say, like same thing with Riley, which unironically we talked about last episode too. A lot of people don't really tend to care for Kate on the series. For whatever reason, and then that's mixed. I mean, that's obviously with any character, because I have a handful of people I could not name right now that have been talking to me on Revamped and the DMs and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, I can't wait for the Kate stuff. I really like Kate as a character." And then I've got other ones who are like, "Fuck Kate, like Prophecy Girl, they fucking can't stand her ass." Like,
oh my god,
or maybe certain ones. I think maybe Cara liked her a little bit or something like that.
I can see it being like a mixed bag situation. It is for sure.
And I'm always not down for the side of police like law enforcement in general. Obviously we know my history with Detective V, so I'm not even like about cops. Like I've always said that in the past, they don't really make me feel safe personally. Like it just depends on the situation, and I don't like to like these types of shows too, like CSI and things. I talked about that in the very beginning of the series, so you would think I'd be set up to not really care for Kate. I kind of like what I'm seeing so far and everything that's been unfolding, if I'm watching it with the fresh vision, the fresh eyes, the new perspective. I guess I could just say the episode kind of gets overlooked a little bit to like sum that up. And I think it's also because of Penn himself. And I think a lot of people think he's not necessarily compelling as a villain because he's really not doing too much. He's doing the same cyclical actions every 20 fucking years because he's just bored in his life and stuff. But I actually noticed this time around, and I really ended up liking the story. And we realized quickly how it's not about Penn. It's more about Angel, which obviously it is because the show's about him. But I think what makes Penn interesting is not so much who he is, it's where he came from. And obviously the first examples that we see of damage that Angelus has left behind, because that's a big central theme this episode, like all the way up until the end. Angel's talking about like what he did in the past, because it's kind of calling back whenever we did the Dark Age. I have no problem remembering Buffy titles, but we were talking about the past comes back to bite you in the ass. You do all these things in the past, and sometimes like years go on and you think that's stuff that like is unspoken of now, but he done forgot about little Penn. He's just assumed like either Penn is out here living his best life, or maybe some slayer in the past killed him, or like he got tortured and burned alive by some other bitch or something. He just something, even though he's an immortal, like maybe he fell into his own or got killed some way, shape, or form, or maybe he's out there like, I mean, he is a monster. and he created them too. I feel like it's interesting how the people that he turned are more reflections of himself, because in a lot of ways Penn feels like the precursor to Spike, because I think that this was before Spike, and even Drusilla, when you think of it that way, like those were two people that are the greatest legacy that Angelus has created, because those were people that he molded, and along with Penn in the storyline, which we find out. But I'm assuming this was, like I said, a precursor before them, because you don't see them around at all. Like there's no Darla. This is obviously before Angel got insold and stuff like that too. And I think that's something that we always call back to, because Angelus doesn't just create vampires, he always cultivates them, because he psychologically broke Drusilla before turning her. He taught basically Spike how to become a monster, and he was like this father figure to Penn before doing all that stuff. So I feel like in each case Angel wasn't just like satisfied with simply killing people. He wants to remake them in his image. That's why he tortures them beforehand or does these weird things. Like, I don't know if he just saw something in Penn, or maybe one day he decided to turn Penn because he was kind of bored. Like, we don't get that part of the story, but I think that element wise is what makes the episode work for me overall, because I've always enjoyed it. Like, I like the reveal stuff of Kate. I don't know, something so cool about somebody finding something like this out and seeing how they deal with it. And Kate deals with it on a multitude of levels. She does deal with it. She doesn't just sweep it under the rug like most people. She really does immerse herself in this world and get curious about it, because she feels like she needs the answers after what she's witnessed. I think that's going to be interesting, seeing where she kind of moves forward with all of that. But I think that's why I like the episode, just because of what we get with Angel, which I feel like ties into like one of the episode's biggest questions, like what is Angel actually afraid of too? And like, I'm curious if he's really afraid of becoming Angelus again, because he's so close to having been Angelus not long ago. And we've spoken to that recently as well. And that more gets put out there by me because of the ending conversation he has with Cordelia. You know, like, and he's like talking about like, you know, if I ever turn again, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you. And I'm like, all right, great, I'll kill you. Like, like she's literally us in that moment. So like that was just presented to me in a different way, taking it in the way that we do the podcast. I was like, oh shit, I was like, Penn really isn't the villain this episode. He's just evidence of Angel's past, and Angelus is still kind of the villain all these years later, when he's trying to do good actively in the world too. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because it's just consequences that just keep coming up. Like I said, past, bite you in the ass, all the things. I don't know where to go from there. Any other thoughts for yourself throughout the episode?
Okay, I don't know when they first ever even said his name in the episode, because like the whole time I was just referencing him in my notes as the dude, old homie, old boy, Angel's friend. Like, I was like,
Angel's friend.
Then I was like, even trying to rewind and go back and be like, where the fuck do they name drop this guy, or do we just name him ourselves?
He says it to him like twice maybe in the episode when he's having interactions with him, but it's very minuscule. Even when he like shows Kate the picture and stuff like that, he just says, this is the guy you're looking for. Back in the day, I could never remember his name, and if I like ever talked about it with really anybody, or like even thinking about it like when I was listening to other podcasts, I was still calling him like the progeny, like Angel's progeny, because that's what he is. Like, he's a little spawn of Angel, or Angelus, I guess I should say.
Angel's son.
Angelus 2.0. Baby Angel.
Yeah. I found myself obviously a little bit like annoyed with his character for very given reasons. So I can see why he didn't really land, I guess, with the audience as far as that's concerned. About Kate, I don't know. I'm indifferent at this moment. I feel like she has struck me a few times throughout this series that we've seen her, where I'm like, I don't know what to think of her, really. And then other times I really, really like her stance on things. And I like that she kind of seems to have boundaries, and I don't know. Sometimes she seems a certain way, and then she does things where it almost cancels it out. And there's one in particular time that I'll bring up along the way. But yeah, she's definitely a mixed bag of a person. So I can see where people are kind of like, I don't know where to weigh in with.
Yeah, I'm excited to explore more, because like now moving forward, she can't put the rose-colored glasses back on. Like, she's been really, like immersed in this, and then like I make comments I almost want to bring up now, but I'm just going to save it from whenever we do get to it. But there's so much I feel like that like we could dive in on whenever it comes to her, and just in general. Like I keep saying, moving forward, it's going to be an interesting like conversation to continue have as a piece for her, and see where we can go on and whatnot.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so let's go on into the episode, because I ain't got nothing else to say that we won't say then. Instead of saying it now. All right, great. Here we go, guys. Buckle up. No, I'm just kidding. You can keep your seatbelts off. I'll drive dangerously. uh, The episode opens as a terrified young woman runs through the streets at night, constantly glancing over her shoulder as though she knows someone is following her, because someone is. She turns a corner and suddenly finds a man standing directly in her path. He grabs her throat, holds her in place. We see its teeth and know exactly what it is, as it uses a strange metal claw attached to its finger to carve into her cheek. He then bites her and drains her blood before letting her body fall to the pavement. As the killer lifts his head, we see that it's Angel in vampire face. The image lingers for a moment before Angel suddenly wakes up in bed, breathing heavily and visibly disturbed by what he just experienced in his nightmare. Mind you, I just said breathing heavily because very clearly this motherfucker is exhaling breaths to his alarmness to show it that he's alarmed and bothered by this. And I was like, you think they'd be like, hey, David, do those actions if you want, as far as like the looking around and like almost as if you're gasping in shock, but like vampires do not breathe, so we need you to stop expelling air out of your mouth. I'm just like, how do they put this in here? Like, you can convey this so many different fucking ways. Like, no. It's wild.
That's so true.
But the scene shifts to the actual crime scene where Kate is arriving to oversee the investigation. Officers move around the area while Kate examines the victim. When she turns the woman's face to the side, a cross carved in her cheek becomes visible. Kate deduces it's the same guy, and this body makes 3 found. Confirming this pattern means the killer is just getting started. Kate about to find out today about some evil about vampires. She's gonna kill him. Angel's getting the fuck out of there. All right, I'm done. We'll see if I keep that in. I'm just bored. Oh, man. I like that little opening though. The stuff about like, I don't know, just seeing the vampire's teeth and like the interesting like symbolism with the like carving and the like the metal finger thing on the whole episode, that it's a thing. Obviously, like I guess Angelus used to do this, calling Courtney, he passes it on to Penn, and Penn can't come up with anything original himself. He got a copycat. Literally. They even call him a copycat killer in this day and time because they notice it's been patterns of the past. But it reminded me, did you watch American Horror Story? I don't know if you were like in the realm.
Only like one season.
That's something you definitely need to immerse yourself back into one day, so that we have something interesting to watch. Maybe like during every October, watch a new season. But American Horror Story Hotel, Lady Gaga, she's essentially a vampire on that show. I'm not to spoil anything if y'all have had 10 years to watch that. For real at this point, because I think I came out firmly in 2015 or so when I moved to Charleston. But she has like a metal claw that she uses like to like usually slash people because she doesn't have vampire teeth. She just has like a blood disease that makes her immortal, but she has to feed off of other people's blood to regenerate, essentially. It's really good. But when I like Lady Gaga as an actress, just say, I mean, I like her as a singer too. She's powerful as a person. I should just say, this is going to be now the Lady Gaga podcast, so we're going to talk about her first. I'm just kidding. But she uses one of those claws to kill people and to create a wound so that way she can like then drink their blood, essentially. But that was giving that. I mean, I think she has like a whole arm piece. It was like the glove of Menegon, not the thumb. So we're going to call this one the thumb of Menegon. The Thumagon. Do you remember the glove of Menegon? Angel or Penn points their thumb and goes, "Thumb freen." I didn't put none of this in the script, just so you know. This is all coming out right now.
I can tell.
But I thought it was wild, like thinking back to that, like and stuff like that, because I wanted to talk about it in some way, shape, or form, because I was having some of these thoughts of just thinking about the teeth and the shots and stuff that they're doing. I did want to say too, when Angel gets up out of the bed, or like when it shows it, the camera pulls away from him, that's the shot right before it shows him walking down the alley at the very end of the opening title sequence too. And I never noticed that and caught that before. So if y'all haven't either, that's what that is. It's a quick little just glimpse, obviously, but yeah. The following morning at Angel Investigations, Cordelia is practicing a professional greeting for future clients to an empty chair.
It's the city of dreams, a mystical oasis, willed from a desert. But even sunny blonde LA has its trashy dark roots, and you've learned that the hard way, haven't you? You've taken your problem to the police, they can't help you, so you've come to us.
One that Wesley thinks is about to speak as he arrives with a bunch of mail Cordelia points out belongs to the dentist office next door. Dr. Folger. Cordy snarks about our supposed lone wolf rogue demon hunter being here, and Wesley tries to defend himself and compare notes with his like-minded counterparts, but gets distracted when given back the mail, and before he can say much about it, they hear Angel coming up the elevator. Wesley abruptly decides he should return the misplaced mail and quickly exits. I remember what I was going to say when we were in the cold open. But did you, like, just opening the sequence wise, you see an angel kill this woman and then wake up out of his dreams where you're like, oh, this angel like did this, like, and he isn't aware that he did it?
Well, first off, before I even realized that, like, when he wakes up in the bed and then I'm confused about what just happened, I was terrified because I was like, oh no, as soon as I saw it, like, as soon as I saw that it was him killing this woman, I was like, oh no, it's Angelus. Like,
Oh shit.
I got so scared. And then I was really confused. And then knowing that the theme was sleepwalking, I assumed obviously that it was definitely him and he was sleepwalking and he murdered this lady.
Shit. You're like, what's this gonna happen? You're like, oh, and then Kate's saying there's 3 people already found, so he's done this a few different times.
Yeah, no, I definitely spiraled because I was like, clearly if he's already 3 people, then he's been doing this more than just this one night that we're seeing, which means that, like, it's probably going to be kind of hard to stop him, especially because he's a vampire. And now what? Because he's out and about just sleepwalking as a vampire, so now the whole world can see him. Like, I was just thinking all these things, like, he's going to be exposed, they're going to call Riley's going to come get him and take him underground, and like all these things.
Oh my god, for real though. I mean, honestly, shit. Angelus better watch out in the world we living in today. For real, about to be a test subject. That's who they need to do the fuck put the chip in the damn head. That motherfucker. Honestly, need to get all of them. They get Drusilla. I mean, I would say get Darla, but she's a pile of dust in the bronze floor, so we can't really do that anymore.
That right? No bringing her back.
Yeah, okay. That is interesting, like the little glimpse that Wesley gets of the newspaper and then he gets up. Like, I'm surprised that he didn't say anything. And I thought that for a second. I was like, why doesn't he just tell Cordelia and Angel right there that, like, hey, there's this murder, like, this is your pattern, what's going on here? But I guess he's on the fence a little bit about bringing it up, which is good because he doesn't want to say too much too soon and be like, oh, I'm wrong. But he also, I think, if anything, maybe is like, this sounds familiar. Let me go back and look at my notes that I've taken in the past or do my own research to double check before just saying anything. And I like that because most people don't have that kind of a filter in their head to say, like, wait a little bit, process for a moment before you act, and then they end up acting too soon and then consequences. But I thought that was cool how they put that in there. And like, I thought he was gone. I forgot that he was like lingering in the hallway still whenever the scene kind of ends, the next little bit for Angel coming in, because obviously Angel enters looking exhausted and irritable, and Cordelia notices his mood along with the fact that he looks half dead,
which for someone who's completely dead would be kind of neat.
And begins discussing one of their active cases, suggesting Police Lady, aka Kate, might be able to help them run a license plate. Angel agrees to head to the precinct, but remains distracted throughout the conversation. As he leaves, he's so preoccupied being avoidant and snarky that he nearly walks straight into the sunlight coming through the doorway. He's like, oh, fuck. He's like, all right, I'm gonna use the tunnels. How about that? Courtney gets up to shut the door as we see Wesley skitter away swiftly, having been listening in. Were you sketched out by Wesley a little bit here, or like, did you just assume that he knew something that we were going to find out later or something? Like, I just kind of said a little bit ago.
Kind of, yeah. I wasn't really sketched out or anything. I just assumed, I mean, I feel like that's kind of part of Wesley.
Yeah,
in a way.
They're trying to make it ominous, like he's on edge and stuff. I'm like, Wesley, you got something up your sleeve? Are you the one like making Angel do this? I wonder if other people ever went there in their head with that. I didn't, but like if they're like, oh, maybe he's like brainwashing Angel, maybe he's doing something more evil, maybe he's going to be sinister on this show or something. You know what I mean? Like, take it that route.
He seemed more like worried instantly in a way, so I wasn't really sketched out. It just seemed more like we got reason to fear.
Yes, we do. Over at the precinct, Kate agrees to help Angel with the license plate information, though she's clearly buried in work of her own in this murder case that's disturbing her. The two conversing on the victims, commenting they all had one thing in common as an officer brings in scene photos from the crimes. Angel takes notice to the shots and grows cold, realizing the victim in the photograph is the same woman from his dreams. I'm sure in his head he's like, oh, fuck the fuck. I mean, we can see that on his face, essentially. Kate explains that the newspapers have started calling the killer the Pope because of the crosses carved into the victims. Kate assumes the killer thinks he's doing God's work. Yes, the Lord, God, our faith. And Angel confirming it's directly the opposite 𝐒𝐤𝐢𝐻. Whoever is doing this is mocking faith, not serving it. At least that's his guess. And I like it because he knows in the way of saying that is so cool. Like, once you've watched the episode through and you kind of know that contextually, which we know because we saw the dream and we know what's going on in Angel's head because we've seen the stuff leading up to this. So you're like, oh shit, like he already knows, like obviously, like, and he's not going to tell her because then he's going to like have it on his ass. But I'm sure even himself, like other than him thinking he's up sleepwalking doing these things, maybe he's like confused by exactly what's going on and needs to find answers therefore anyway. So he's going to bring it up to his team to figure it out. He's like, damn it, I'm this week's helpless. Fuck. An officer calls for Kate, and she looks away only to turn back to find Angel is gone, having done that disappearing thing that he does so often. I love when he does that, because remember back in the day on Buffy, like season 2 or so, I think actually it was Lie to Me, which we've called back way more times than we should have. Which I'm looking at the poster that Robbie did for me for Lie to Me with Drusilla about to get staked by Buffy. But Willow and Xander are at the Bronze, and Angel approaches them to talk about Billy Fordham or Ford, and she's like, you want to play some pool with us or like hang out, Angel, blah blah blah. And then like Xander says something, and she like turns to him, and then she turns back and he's disappeared. She's like,
see, you made him do that thing where he's gone.
Yeah.
That's immediately what I thought of for this episode. But I was like, Angel really do be doing that. But they like vampires in general like will do that, but Angel's like the king of it. And I'm like, okay. Afterward, Kate gathers a room full of officers and begins presenting her profile of the suspect. She explains that the killer likely views himself as superior to ordinary people, someone who sees himself as special or chosen. She believes he's a loner and may not even fully understand why he does what he does.
Our suspect will be a white male. To the observer, he will not seem a monster. His victims put up little or no struggle, so it's likely he's charming, attractive, but at his core, he's a loner. Possibly a dual personality who, once the crime has been committed, retains no memory of the act. He will not view his victims as subhuman. Rather, it's himself he sees as something other than human, more than human, a superior species. Stalking his prey, getting to know them. It's unlikely he'll be married, though he may have recently come off a long-term relationship that ended badly. We look for a precipitating event in cases such as this, and a painful breakup is always at the top of our list. Prior to failing, this relationship may have marked an inactive period in our suspect's life. He would have regarded it as a lifeline, his salvation, but once ended resulted in his recidivism. What is not in question is his experience. He's been doing this for a very long time, and he will do it again.
As she continues outlining the profile, the episode cuts between her speech and Angel moving through the city alone, creating an uncomfortable overlap between the characteristics she's describing and Angel himself. And I think that that's done so well. Like I guess like maybe at this point too, you might be thinking like this really is Angel, because Angel himself, like the whole profile accurately describes him to the T, everything that she said, even down to the part
he acted.
Yeah, I'm like, Angel, you ain't even, like, you ain't convincing all of us. We think you're a murderer again. Like, I didn't think straight Angelus, but I thought like maybe something was happening, like maybe the curse was starting to wear off or something dumb like that. I didn't really think that specifically, but I wish I always could remember the like first take that I had on these, you know what I mean? Like I almost wish that for the podcast back in the day I'd have been so obsessed, like as I already was, to where I was keeping a little journal,
my diary
like,
about it.
Exactly, episode by episode, like what I thought week by week. Or I wish like I was of the era of blogging or something like that, because I was too young to do that. But if I'd have been like 14, 15 watching this, you know, I would have had these like
was that lightning?
Yes.
Or thunder?
Did you see how that just scared the fuck out of me though?
Yeah, that was so loud. Like, I heard that. That was so loud. I was so glad. See, that's how the shit was at my house yesterday. And I got that.
That wasn't the thumb of Menegon. That was the Pure on glove right there. Caffeine!
That was a whole cast.
Anyways, like my internet's still connected, so that's good. I'm not over here acting like I'm in Colombia where people are. That was actually the person over here running into the Transformer. Robots in
no,
disguise.
that came from the sky.
Oh, it's Thor. We were talking about the Marvel. He said, you said, what? You don't like Hawkeye? That's my friend. Anyways, I like how it's going across. Like, I know we're talking about Angelus, all that stuff, but like the cut where we see him walking down like the, I don't know, like the boulevard or something like that, and he, like the blonde woman is turned away from him. Obviously it's clearly not Buffy, but Kate's like he recently probably just got out of a relationship that ended badly and like all this, and it's clearly making us like think of Buffy. And I was like, oh, it's so clever like what they're doing. And I love the whole overlap of her, like he's walking the whole time that she's giving this whole like profile description of the person. And I really like that element of law enforcement, like the way that they go in their mind to like immerse themselves, especially as a detective. Like I'm surprised that I don't like CSI shows and things like that, because in an element like this I do like it, like the lore description and stuff. Like even like something as simple as Interview with the Vampire, them telling the story and like you finding out of this information like lore drop wise, it always ends up being really cool about like stuff like that. And I love watching like things on YouTube or like the crime scene stuff where they're like working like things, or telling the stories of like the woman that killed her 3 kids, or like the man
Like
that shot
Dateline
people,
and
or
stuff like that.
yeah, stuff like that, where there's like an episode on like the actual crime that occurred, and it's like
Yes,
those
yeah.
spooky things. It always shows the person that's
Or like 2020
silhouetted
or
out
48
telling their version of the
hours or
story.
anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that type of stuff. So this kind of gave that for me, and I was like, oh, to be a detective and like be piecing all these things together, you have to have some sort of brain that's just super special compared to your average person. You can go to all the training in the world and stuff, and you can learn how to look at stuff, but some of that stuff is just very innate to like put pieces of things together and solve stuff.
Yeah.
So really cool there. Back at AI, Wesley rushes into the office as Courtney tries to... my heart's still beating from that thunder lightning. Back at AI, Wesley rushes into the office as Courtney tries to leave, scaring her. He asks her where Angel is, and we see a steak is in his hand. He's like, I came at the ready. Smart. Cordelia finds it kind of rude that he's bringing a weapon like that into a vampire's workplace, because hello, potential misinterpretation. Wesley ignores the comment and shows her the newspaper article from that morning. And talk about misinterpretations. Cordy is more focused on the fact that Dr. Folger's newspaper has been clipped to pieces and by Wesley. And
they're
again,
gonna get kicked out.
That's not the point. Fucking Cordelia always focus on significantly insignificant things on these shows. Like between the two of them, I'm like, Cordelia, we need to write this part of your character out of this show. It's funny though. Also, question: do you reckon that the best part of Dr. Folger waking up is to his coffee? Do you get that?
No.
Oh my gosh! Seriously, did anybody else?
Oh, you mean because of those? No,
the best part of waking
clearly
up
because
is
he
Folger's
was
in your
mad.
cup.
Clearly, because Angel was real upset when he didn't damn see no coffee in his coffee pot.
He was over there looking for some coffee, but he apparently
He
up
was
all
like,
night.
I ain't gonna wake up on the good side of the bed today.
He said, "Where my
and
froth?"
now I don't have the best part of waking up because there's no coffee in my coffee.
He goes to use the frother and the damn batteries is dead in it.
This sounds like me during Mercury retrograde.
Seriously. Well, the past does come back to bite you in the ass during Mercury retch, so we've cracked the code. Wesley explains that after seeing the details of the murder, he went back through his old Watchers Council research he had put together upon arriving in Sunnydale, specifically on Angelus, Angel, given his uncomfortable proximity to the Slayer.
You look pretty comfortable to me.
I was like, oh, yeah, can't be enough to go fucking evil and all the other things that they did on that show. According to those records, though, the killer's modus operandi is identical to the way Angelus operated centuries ago. The carved cross, the victims, the ritualistic nature of the attacks, all of it matches Angelus's calling card. Cordelia becomes defensive, asks him to leave, and she refuses to believe Angel could have anything to do with the murders. She reminds Wesley that Angel isn't Angelus anymore. He is good, and insists that the person they're talking about is her friend. And she's like, doesn't say, I'm not turning my back on a friend. Before the argument can continue, though, Angel appears admitting that Wesley's concerns aren't entirely unreasonable. In fact, that he is right. And suddenly everything Cordelia just claimed is out the window.
You stake him and I'll cut his head off.
Come no closer. I'm not gonna hurt you.
Oh, is that what you told Miss Third Body Found in Alley?
Why should we believe a word you say? That's how fast I could take you if I wanted to. All right, we're listening.
She just jumps into action, which is good. And they both like start to move to do it. And I really like the way the rest of this kind of unfolds, because Wesley pulls a cross on him, which Angel quickly defends against himself, like grabbing Wesley, reminding him that his threats to him are empty and he could take out anybody, not just Wesley, in the blink of an eye. Because like as soon as he grabs him out the front and rips his ass around and saying like, I could lay your ass out, snap your neck, do everything before you even do anything, and fucking Wesley's like, all right, anyways, let's talk. I'm like, here we go again, last episode. Angel explains that he has no memory of committing these crimes and how he has been having vivid dreams about the murders, and that every victim he's seen in those dreams later turns up dead. Dreams being the operative word, since they can't be called nightmares because he's enjoying them, which I thought was an interesting element-wise for him to admit, because he could have left that little bit of information out, but like she calls them a nightmare and he's like, no, they're not nightmares, I'm enjoying them. He's like, so these are soft, like little great dreams. He's like, I put the lavender stuff in my little cinch bag and I put it under my pillow and did Courtney's aromatherapy oil on my lip and on my temples before I went to bed. And he was like, it was really, really peaceful dreams. I've done that before. Put it on my lip so I could see the smell it. Not like on my lip, on my mustache a little bit, so that way I don't have to like hold my wrist.
I know, it was just the way you said it. You're like, on my lip.
It's his lip gloss. His lip gloss be popping. You guys go visit Boho Luna and go get you some candles and some aromatherapy oils. You can feel like Angel. If you want to dream about murdering people and enjoying it, please go get Courtney's products from her shop.
What a time to plug that in.
This is an ad, and I am sponsored by Boho Luna Company. Do you like that? Maybe you should make me a little. I'm gonna take you packaging one of the oils and stuff and put my overlap of me talking about that.
Please do, because I've always. Have you ever seen people do that where they're like, I got my boyfriend to overlay this, and he's like,
yes, I've seen those videos.
I'm sticking it on the tissue paper. What's this? Oh no, bubble wrap. And then we're getting it back. No, a box. And like they're fucking the whole thing up. I'm like, I really want to send a random like thing that I put up on Boho's thing to somebody just to F with it completely. It's gonna be you now that you volunteered.
you gotta put like as your tagline under the sleep like piece. You know how they usually have like a little tagline. You gotta like sleep like an angel tonight. Sleep like Angelus.
Oh my god, I gotta do it.
Dead. Okay, anyways, Wesley begins theorizing that Angel might somehow be committing the crimes without realizing it, perhaps sleepwalking during the final hours before dawn. Do you think people sleepwalk on your aroma oils, just to say? Like, I know they'd be bitching about how it don't last more than 20 minutes scent-wise, because I read Miss Barbara's quote from like a couple months ago, and I was like, bitch, you better not come from the oils.
That was a couple weeks ago. That bitch, I was so mad because I have a perfect 5-star rating, and this bitch took it down to a 4.8. And I was like, first off, it's not a perfume. Barbara, your name would be Barbara.
She clearly needs the Taurus one, because the Taurus one lingers for hours.
That is more of a perfume one.
Which makes sense.
He doesn't know what aromatherapy is.
Which I love, too. I'm going to clip a part of this from this conversation. So, anyways, I wanted to say that the other day, and I completely forgot to tell you about it, but that was the whole thing. The theory sounds absurd, but neither of them can completely dismiss it. To eliminate the possibility, they decide to chain Angel too tightly to his bed while Wesley keeps watch overnight. That shit was funny as fuck. They over here strapping this motherfucker to the bed and shit. Cordelia's like, I ain't sticking around here. She's like, Wesley can hang out with your ass. She's like, I'm gonna go home before I be killed. That night, Angel does dream again. This time, the dream takes him back to the 18th century. A frightened woman runs through the streets while a vampire stalks her through the darkness. When the vampire catches her, he carves a cross into her cheek before killing her. Once the body drops to the ground, Angelus steps forward and begins speaking to someone. But before we can see who he's talking to, he awakens the next morning to Cordelia carrying the good news in the paper about how another victim has been murdered. She's like, good news, a victim. There was another death. I'm like, okay.
Great news.
But, aka Mr. I'm so tortured didn't do it. Aka meaning Angel. Couldn't possibly have committed the crimes while chained to his bed, because he's still there. And so is Wesley. Wesley slept in a chair. Wesley moves to unbind him, but stops when Angel seems more troubled than ever, claiming, yes, I did. We're like, how? You astral projected? No. I don't think so.
I know, right?
Damn.
I thought the same thing.
Courtney's sleep oil, good if it got you moving around in chains. Over here hopping down the damn street.
That's why we say sleep like an angel.
That's why we say it's the company's slogan now. We cut back in time to complete the historical events. Angel asking again, isn't that better? As a younger male vampire pulls away from the corpse of the lady on the ground, his mouth slathered with her blood. Angelus calls this his first kill, the lad's little sister, and he only seems to care about his unquenchable thirst. They assume his father should be next target along with the rest of his family, because Angel's like, why don't we go kill your family next? Because, that's his apparent. We talk about a modus operandi. There it is. And Angelus tells his progeny when they invite him in, and he begins the feast to truly savor it, take in the moment, noting that family blood is always the sweetest. This is the spot on here, like, we gather quickly that Angelus is training this new vampire, having sired it and showing him the ropes and all that stuff in this way, teaching it basically to be just as vicious as he was. So I like that, because that's why it hits so close to Angel as the story unfolds, and the profile fits as well that we were talking about with Kate and stuff like that, because this person is like pretty much a clone of him, like so much to the fact that where he's doing all these actions the same way Angelus was, whereas like Drusilla was just conditioned by him not to act like him, but and you'll later find out in this way, I guess, like to say, but like we know that Spike and him had a history and they spent eons together, so did Darla. But I don't know, the way Spike said it in School Hard with like, you sired me, you made me, like I looked up to you type thing. That's why he was so pissed off, I guess, whenever all the shit happened at the end of the season where he's trying to take Drusilla from him and all this stuff, and he's just like getting a bug up his ass over Angel and stuff like that. He like looked up to him in a sort of kind of way, even though they've always kind of had this combative energy against each other regardless. But this person is like a replica of Angel, obviously, to the fact of where, well, not Angel, Angelus. I gotta remember to distinguish the two in this episode because we're kind of dealing with what, but what an interesting way, like, because I always like the flashbacks that we get in the show whenever we get to go back in time like this, and we get to do it a few different little like ways. But to see like Angelus as a character, it's a way of bringing Angelus back to the show without like making Angel lose his soul, and then everybody on the show being like in a problematic area for it, you know?
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool. Did you in any way think like whenever you saw this vampire, you were like, oh, it's that guy doing it, and the Angel's not doing it since he was strapped to the bed and stuff like that? He's still alive to this day, unalive.
I mean, I
it take more-
gathered that's where it was going because I felt like Angel was indirectly already taking responsibility somehow, you know, when they're like, well, it's not you. And he was like, well, it is. But we're like, well, it can't be because physically your body has been in bed. You know what I mean? So it's like, I get what he was saying as soon as this scene was introduced to us, because that's the only way it made sense. I was like, well, I guess that's him saying I feel indirectly like responsible, you know, so it is me, because if it wasn't for me doing this to him, then this wouldn't be happening today. So yeah, I kind of
exactly, which is like kind of what I talked about in the opening thoughts, with saying like everything the past come back to bite you in the ass, you know what I mean? Like him directly saying yes I did is him saying like, no, I'm responsible for this. I might not physically be acting it, but I created the monster that's still doing this to this day. So it's like a whole problem. So I like how you just kind of worded that yourself, so now I don't have to say it because you get it. We flash forward in time to the man more modern looking than we previously saw, as he pastes newspaper clippings because he's apparently also been stealing Dr. Folger's newspapers, and he's hanging them all up all over the wall the way serial killers tend to do, or, you know, like scrapbook them and do all that type of stuff. I guess they gotta keep it as like a trophy kind of thing. Some people take home other stuff. I mean, what's his face was making damn like nipple belts and shit like that back in the day, making bowls with people's skulls and shit like that. Like, that's the extra level. But usually when you see somebody that's just like a classic serial killer that's not like taking body parts home and doing creepy shit with that type of stuff, they're always like putting some kind of binder together that's got some kind of like their keepsakes and memories, or they're stealing locks of hair, if anything, or like an article of clothing or something, and still wearing it so that way they can be like, haha, like I'm in the public eye and like no one knows type thing. Like, I guess it just takes them there in their head. And that's another route of like me saying like with detectives kind of immersing themselves in someone's mind. That's what's always interesting about those crime shows. And the ones that are much darker, obviously, when we get to people like Dahmer or like Ed Gein and stuff, which is who I was talking about with the belts and stuff, just like what made their minds work that way to say like, oh yeah, this is the way to live.
I have no idea.
I mean, because a vampire, you get it. They're like an evil demon, like a demon's natural, like that would be like innately with them, and just as much as it is for other things we were talking about.
Well, that's considered like subhuman or something different. And so when you see human beings doing diabolical shit to other human beings, you're just like, what is the chemistry in your brain like doing to you, you know? And what's different from you than me, because we're both people with the same exact anatomy. So I'm just like, what happened up there? Is it like I always wonder if it's nature versus nurture, or some people are just like literally born this way.
Well, some of it's really a like chemical imbalance though. Like
whatever.
Anna's told me so many experiences that she's had where, you know, people that deal with like psychosis, or like those people that will try to kill their kids because they're like still postpartum and like it's fucking up their like chemistry in their body, and they're like thinking that like, they're having
I get it.
You know what I mean? I can't think of what the disorder is with them and stuff like that they have, but like it's wild. Like you're saying, like nurture versus nature. Like it could be something supernatural, like not supernatural, but actually natural, organic as matter, or it could be something that's just like an imbalance, or it's something that was like a learned behavior. Like they grew up like getting tortured or hurt or something like that, and that just conditioned them in a certain way. So I get the nurture versus nature kind of like concept on that too.
And I'm sure both like can be true. You know, I just wonder what's like the norm statistically, like among people who are murderers or serial killers. Like, is it a conditioned thing, or a trauma response, or whatever? You know, or is it like they were fucked from the start?
It's fascinating to think about. Like you haven't gotten to any yet, but that's what an element like I hope that maybe you'll come into, because the last couple of times you've done the Beyond the Abandoned segments on your podcast,
the next one I'm doing is crazy.
Like I want to know like about like the person that like, because those have been like lost and found type shit. Like, you know, they're unexplained. They have no answers usually. The last couple that you've done.
No, this one has answers. This is gonna be my longest damn solo episode. I can already tell. All
right, you guys, crazy. Make sure you go listen to Beyond the Abandoned over on there. What's your podcast called? I was about to say Urbex Echoes. That's your Instagram name. Echoes,
I know people always call it that.
Elsewhere. And that is a paid ad there again.
Again,
but it's paid by freedom and kisses and love and pee touches. Back upstairs, Angel has informed Cordelia and Wesley the full story. Angel believes the connection between sire and child is allowing him to see through his eyes, which was an interesting concept. I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's why he's dreaming everything, because he's got like a literal, like, physical link to this person.
Yeah.
Every murder he's witnessed in his dreams was actually Penn's. As they discuss the situation, they realize Kate is actually pursuing a vampire without any idea what she's actually hunting, and Angel decides they may be able to use Kate's investigation to locate Penn before he kills again. We get a little clip of Angel visiting Kate. He is, with her thinking it's to receive the info that she's collected on his earlier license plate request, only it's not. I love how whenever he comes into, she's like immediately flirting with him, like she's been the whole damn show. Like every time she sees him and stuff, she's making some kind of comments. And I was like, oh, I don't think she's gonna be making them comments moving forward. Wanting to speak privately, though, she takes him into a nearby room, one that contains all the investigation research. I'm like, they probably would have chosen another room, but I guess since she's like a PI, she like entrusts him, because normally cops would not take you in the room with all the murder boards like spaced up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
He quickly studies the crime scene, though, and the photographs spread up on the board before starting to talk. And looking at the victims, he begins recognizing a pattern. Penn isn't selecting random people. He's recreating specific murders from his own past, as we see flashes compared with the photos of the present and the past. He's reliving it, which I like that little shot that they show. Like, it's showing like the newer family collapsed on the table at the dinner scene. He's flashing back to like Penn killing his family and leaving them at the table, and like all the other cuts and stuff like that too. I was like, who has the mindset? Like, this vampire's got to have some kind of like photographic memory and just like be able to replay this on a reel in his head to be like, all right, and next I killed a girl, and then the next time I killed about a 17-year-old boy, then the next time I killed a grandma on the side of the street. Like, you know what I mean? Like, bro, this is too precise. The realization allows Angel to predict what kind of victim Penn will target next, as he tacks a sketch up to the board of Penn, telling her that this is the man that she'll be looking for. And Kate stares stunned, questioning. I love it too. She steps, she's like, how did you get that? Like, what, like the answers are just going through her head. She's like, how could you possibly know that? She doesn't understand, wondering if he's protecting a source, because that's obviously the mindset that she would be going down. And he asks if she trusts him. She confirms, and he tells Kate that the next victim will likely be a young white male from a lower income neighborhood. So Angel remembers all this information too. And Penn will probably find him somewhere near a liquor store, telling her to make sure that this one is averted. Angel heads to the parking garage, having discreetly stolen a police scanner so he and Wesley can monitor the investigation. I love how he just casually hands Wesley, because Wesley's down there waiting in the parking garage room, like the stolen police property, and Wesley's like, what's this? He's like, oh, I took it from a cop car. And he's like, oh dear, and he just puts it in the floor.
Like, he puts it down. It's like, oh god.
I was like, the fuck, Angel.
I just love how in those like instances he reminds me so much of Giles, because I feel like that's exactly what Giles would have done. He'd be like, what is
back in the day,
this?
Giles, for sure.
Yeah.
This day and time, Giles would be just like, all right, it's gonna help us, we're gonna keep it. Kate speaks with the other detectives, showing on a map where they will be set up for patrols and hopefully find something matching the profiles. That evening, Penn proves Angel correct. A teenage boy stands outside, skateboard boy, outside a liquor store, trying unsuccessfully to convince adults to buy him alcohol. His damn excuses every 2 seconds too. I was just like, boy, ain't nobody believing your ass out here. You look like 12 out here with your damn little skateboard. Like,
I know, talking about, it's for my mom, or what do you say, for my grandma? She really needs it. I can't remember. Did he say mom or grandma?
I don't know. He probably said both. He gave like 3 different ones to 3 different people that pass. Penn approaches, and the boy asks him, and I like that shot because before we see it's Penn, the kid goes, hey dude, you old enough to buy beer? And then it shows Penn's face, and he like has a wicked grin on his face whenever he asks that. I was like, well, obviously he's old enough. And I like how they're playing that out for us to see, because clearly he's a vampire. We know this, but the kid doesn't know that. The question is like oblivious, obviously. Like, he doesn't know what he's asking, and that's why Penn smiles back at him. He's like, oh, you don't even know. He's like, yeah, I'm quite old enough to do this. He's like, I don't have identification, but at least I look the part, maybe. And I will say too, like, just the flashback, I didn't say it when we were there, but I like that change scene up too, because we come right off of the past and we see him in present day and we're like, oh shit, he's still alive. You know what I mean? Like, that confirms that he's the one doing this, not Angel. But he looks like really cool. Like, I like how they modernized him a lot. Like, I said it in the verbiage of my sentence and stuff, but like now he's got like a fade and like a spiky haircut, kind of similar honestly to Angel's. Now that I'm thinking about it, so he's still like Angel.
Giving very early 2000s.
But Jeremy Renner looks really good in that red that he was wearing in that scene too. So I was just like, I think he actually wears that shirt the rest of the episode or something like that too. I don't remember if he changed this. I didn't look at the wardrobe. I haven't been doing fashion over on Angel. I saved that all for Buffy. Where was I at? Let's see. Penn's face smiling. Police nearby watches the teenager follows him into a nearby alley, noticing that the man looks like the photo that Kate has provided. they find him in the alley. Obviously, Penn has begun feeding on him, and when they arrive, he can't finish because the sirens are blaring, and they're like, hey, freeze, all the things. Forced to abandon the attack, Penn flees through the windows of a nearby warehouse. Listening to the police scanner, Angel and Wesley arrive at the scene moments later. While officers begin securing the perimeter, Angel notices a drainage pipe running up the side of the building. Realizing Penn may still be inside, he climbs up the pipe and enters to an upper level while Kate has arrived and searches from below. She's like, I'm going in. I'm like, you get it, girl. Like, you want here by yourself too? Like, she ain't gonna have a couple of people behind her. I don't know why detectives are always doing that. You think they would like still be at the front of things, but you think they'd have a couple of like regular rookie cops behind them so that way they have some backup. But they're like, no, you gotta stay out here. We'll call for backup if you like. They got the cops are stupid sometimes, I guess, in this type of way, because they all in movies they always do that. Like I always think about like the Bone Collector with Angelina Jolie. She's always going up. I mean, she's not a detective in that movie, but she's always going into stuff by herself too. And I'm just like, oh, no, she's like a coroner, like crime scene like investigator. I think in that movie, not really. She is a cop too, though. I don't know. She's got a little special job. I love that movie.
No, I think that always sketches me out though, especially if it's like a woman going somewhere by herself.
That's what I'm saying.
A creepy setting. I'm like.
Not that you can't take care of yourself, but
you
like
got mace or something at least. Like,
well, she got that gun obviously at the ready, but I'm just like, take some extra cops in there with you. You know, y'all just caught the murderer in the act of biting someone or like doing whatever, like pulling him aside. He
like,
looked,
you know for
he
sure
looks to the T like this fucking photo. So you clearly, you know, you've got your guy. So the suspect is inside of this building. You don't know if he's armed and dangerous. He just ripped this guy's throat out. So clearly he's a psychopath. He's on bath salts in your mindset or something. You know, like them zombies were doing 10 years ago when people were on bath salts in Florida eating people on the side of the road and shit, like whatever the fuck that was. I'm just saying. Anyways, inside the warehouse, Kate cautiously moves to the darkness with her gun drawn. Eventually she encounters Penn and orders him not to move. When he continues walking towards her, she opens fire. I like that too because he's coming down the steps as she does it, and when she fires the 3 bullets, he like throws himself down the stairs because we know he's obviously not. I mean, I'm sure they sting a little bit because he does say ouch whenever like he gets up and shit, but I'm like, wow. The 3 bullets strike him squarely in the chest and he collapses. She's skating over there on that skateboard. Kate slowly approaches, checks for a pulse, and finds none. Because duh. And this is kind of the fucked up part because she doesn't know what she's dealing with right now, right? So you check for a pulse. It's a vampire. We know this. They don't have a pulse. So you're going to automatically be like, fuck, I killed him. Like, I did. She thinks she's safe, right?
I instantly thought that. I was like, what an unfair disadvantage to have in this situation.
Yep. Because obviously she lowers her guard and then he grabs her throat and like hurls her across the room. So she's like, hold up. Like, well, wait, what? And this is honestly, I think, a bit of a breadcrumb for her to help her be like, I'm going to be a believer of this stuff. Like, whether I see Angel's face or not, he could have literally just got his makeup done. And I mean, she watches him morph into a vampire, so that's a little bit of a different feat. But in general, she might have been able to kind of explain it away in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? True. But the fact that she checked his pulse herself, and she's definitely checked people's pulses in the past and probably been like, okay, I have to confirm that they're dead. Like, I know that person's dead. She knows he's not alive. So she's like, the fuck? Before Penn can attack again, Angel crashes through the upper floor and lands between them. So Batman coded again, because Batman's always crashing through the ceiling and like breaking up fights and shit. But also cool entrance. I'm here for it, whether it's Batman or fucking not, because what a way to like come onto the scene, right? Penn recognizes Angelus. He seems genuinely pleased to see his sire again, noting that they were to meet up in Italy and how he waited until the 19th century, questioning what happened to him. Angel claiming he got held up in Romania. I love that callback because we know what happened, but Penn is like, what was in Romania? And Angel's like, gypsies. I'm like, oh, duh, curse lore. Like, they don't go into it any further than that, but like us knowing the story, we look at it and we're like, like we know. We know what he knows that he doesn't know, you know? Kate calls for backup on the floor. Penn offers Angelus join him for a drink, aka Kate, as he moves toward her, and their conversation quickly turns hostile when Angel claims that's not why he's there. Angel shifts into vamp face as he claims he's there to kill Penn, and Kate witnesses this. The 2 vampires begin fighting while Kate watches from a distance. She can barely process what she's seeing. Angel repeatedly tells her to get out of the building, but she is stunned, refusing to leave. I wouldn't say she's necessarily refusing to leave, but she's just like, what the fuck? She does try to help, though. Eventually, Penn manages to throw Angel into her and escapes. As Penn disappears into the night, Kate stares horrified at Angel's true phase. Kate demands answers, pulling a gun on Angel, asking, if I shoot you 3 times, will you get up too? Shit. You know she likes to do those clever retorts that I've talked about all season 2. I was just like, ugh. She asks what he is, and he tells her, you already know the answer to that, especially since some details have been missing from the news reports, stuff that she's held back.
Isn't that right?
What do you know about it?
Puncture wounds. The victims have all been drained of their blood, haven't they?
And should I trust you more or less because you happen to know that?
You're not going to stop me, Kate. Not like this.
What do you mean?
It's going to take direct sunlight, decapitation, or a stake through the heart.
You're telling me children's stories.
I'm telling you the truth.
No. I don't believe you.
I know you don't. Even after what you saw, you won't let yourself, which is why you'll lose.
I've heard enough.
No, you haven't heard a word. And you won't. Not now. Not yet.
I really like what he says to her because you think about that type of stuff. I'll bring it up a little bit later, but I'm just like, Kate refuses to listen to children's stories and continues arguing until Angel demonstrates by taking hold of the cross around her neck, allowing it to burn his hand, claiming she better get on board or she will lose this fight. She's heard enough, but he begs to differ, claiming she hasn't heard a word. Not now, not yet, because there are things in this world she's not ready to face as he leaves her. Such a cool fucking scene just to say, like, he's gonna prove something to her too, and he's gonna do that shit, and she's like has no way to explain, like, he's holding on to this cross. And I mean, if anybody, like, whether you're a cop or not, like, clearly you've had to have seen a vampire movie, but by this point Interview with the Vampire has come out too, so you know vampires crosses, like all the things that you've heard for like folklore and stuff like that, those are real reasonings and stuff, so he's kind of proving them to you in this moment too. I'm just like, oh shit, but obviously she gets it. Our next scene, the next morning at the station, Kate begins pondering the murder board before digging through the decades of old murder records delivered to her by another officer who just believes this killer to be a copycat. And I like how she says that too, and Kate's like, something like that. But Kate is starting to believe that that's not the case anymore. Back at Angel Investigations, Cordelia is once again giving her speech from the cold open, only this time it's not to an empty chair. Where you, like, whenever you turn around, it's all Penn's ass sitting in there. Like, you're like,
instant worry.
Yep. Because clearly she has no idea who this is. Mistaking him for a prospective customer, she explains the services Angel Investigations provides. Penn plays along for a while, subtly steering the conversation toward the detective that swayed him toward their business. Having forgotten her name, Cordy happy to inform that must be Detective Kate Lockley, given her whole fucking name, address, social security number. That must be who he's mentioning. It doesn't take Cordy long, though, to realize that this guy is the vampire that they've been looking for, and also that he's pumping her for all this info she's willingly giving him, well, until now. And I gotta say, I'm so proud of Cordelia. Like, this is giving her noticing quick back in episode 1, which, by the way, I forgot his name last time, but it was Russell. He was the vampire that was, like, working with Wolfram and Hart to kill all the girls and stuff like that he was bringing to his house. But he brought her to his house in that episode, and she, like, noticed that he had all the dark curtains, no mirrors in the house, and she's like, hey, you're a vampire, you know? Like, so Cordelia is pretty smart when it comes to this. And of course, obviously, he can come into the business too. Like, he's not invited in, like, because it's a public space, not like a residence. So she didn't have to think about that concept when he came in. But I feel like she's already paying attention to, like, the fact, what did she call out? She's like, hey, is it cold outside? When she notices he's got this extra coat and stuff, she's like, it's like the middle of July. So I know damn well it ain't fucking cold outside. And then obviously he's odd. I think if he hadn't got up out of the chair and, like, got right up in her face, he didn't do anything alarming, but he just kind of got too close to where she was like, she came back a little bit and she's like, the fuck you up in my mouth for? Like, the hell? She talking about, don't put yourself on my lip like that lavender oil. Like, I ain't trying to play that.
She's like, I don't have my lip gloss on.
But I like that how, like, the rest of it unfolds, because she was like talking about, she's like, oh yeah, Kate, and he's like, oh yeah, she's like, her and Angel seem to be pretty close, and she's like, oh yeah, they're really good, like, they're really close, blah blah blah. And she's like, and you're totally pumping me for information. She, like, gets it. She's like, you're him. I'm like, so clever. Penn informs her that she's not making it to the exit before the conversation is over. Unfortunately, Cordelia manages to reach the curtains and throw them open behind her, which I like that again, too. She started inching her way backwards towards them damn curtains because it is daylight outside. I was like, ugh. But I like his comment, too, because I think he says, he's like, you'll never make it to the door before I, and she, like, it's like a space in between. She goes, blow up like a match, because she, like, fucking lifts them up, and I was like, oh shit. Sunlight floods the room, trapping Penn away from her. At that moment, Angel arrives and asks Cordelia for a steak. Standing on opposite sides of the sunlight, Angel and Penn continue to argue. Penn mocks Angel's redemption, while Angel criticizes Penn for spending 2 centuries repeating the same cycles over and over again. I like how Angel calls out, he's like, you probably got a shrine on the wall with candles and news clippings. And I was like,
and he does.
And he does. And you can see his face. He's like, called out, like, he just does like a side eye shit. And
he's like, I just got red for filth.
Literally. And then Angel also calls him prosaic, and obviously myself, I did not know what the word prosaic meant. So a vocabulary lesson for anybody else that does not know what that means. It is defined as having the style or diction of prose, aka plain or dull expressions, and lacking poetic beauty. and that's the differential like aspect between Angelus and him, because Angelus, as we've talked about in the past, he sees like this as an art form when he's like putting bodies up. We talked about it in Amends a lot. He like creates this like as a craft. Like this is a beautiful, like it is like writing a poem to him. That's something that's cemented in history in this way. And this guy's just repeating the same old bullshit. So called out, bitch. The conversation ends when Wesley arrives to tell them that he's found no leads on the vampire, and that's because, you know, the vampire is here with us, as Penn has grabbed him from behind and is choking him the fuck out. I like him too, because he's like, he's holding me by the throat currently. That's why he's not found. He's like, I found him. Penn makes a final comment thanking Angel's constructive criticism of his stale work, telling Angel he will just have to up the ante and be more innovative and original, then shoves Wesley into Angel before escaping yet again. They're just all about this motherfucker getting out of damn rooms. Even in the damn sunlight, he grabbed that coat real fucking quick. Cordelia's like, don't forget the coat. He's looking like Spike running around with the damn.
I would have snatched that coat so he would have had nothing to cover his ass with.
For real though, what would have happened then? Like he wouldn't. I don't know if there's another, because I know Angela has a grate underneath that, like, or like the thing that leads to the tunnels in his apartment downstairs. But like, is there any other exit than the front door? So like,
and does he even know that the tunnels exist, because he doesn't live there?
He better be glad he brought that coat. That's all I'm saying. Meanwhile, we find Kate has immersed herself in research at the library, reading books, studying countless things in recorded history. Enter cut to Angel walking around town at night, clearly on the way to Kate's house. Penn doing his own research and coming up with his new plan also is intercut. Angel arrives at Kate's apartment, knocking at the door, and when she answers, asks to come in, and she's quick to show she already knows far more than she did before. She points out that he can't enter without an invitation, right? She comments on how his little friend has been to LA also 2 times before in the past with his repeated patterns, and also documented in Boston. So this, I think it was like every 20 years, like 1908, and then like in the 50s, and then again in like the 70s or some shit, or the 20s and then the 50s. She confirms she believes that what he's led her to, and he is glad and begins to tell her more info on Penn when she cuts him off, calling him Angelus. I really like this scene, like right here at the door, like realizing that's the name the vampire called out in the bando, and how she's done more research into him as well, calling him a particularly brutal bastard by all accounts, the demon with the face of an angel. Oh, and no, he can't come in. Like that delivery of that moment, because obviously I love how it starts, like he's like, can I come in? And she's like laying out, she's like, oh right, you can't come in without an invitation. And he's like, I see you've been doing your research, yada yada. And then like she seals it off at the end of this statement, like saying, I've also learned about you, and by the way, no, you can't come in. Like, after reading about Angelus, Kate blames Angel for everything that Penn has done. Angel tries convincing her that Penn remains the real threat, asking her to please let him help, but Kate refuses to listen.
Please. Now there's a word I imagine you heard quite a lot in your time. Please. No, don't. Thanks for the offer, but I don't need your help. I know what to do. Drive a stake right through the son of a bitch's heart. And when that happens, I suggest you don't be there, because the next time we meet, I'll do the same to you.
And gives him a clear warning before slamming her door in his face. Like the last part of that delivery, I just love it. Like it's really cool. Do you agree with Kate's stance that she's kind of taken like in this moment?
No, not really. Not in particular toward Angel. Like I can understand where she's coming from her perspective of like her job and whatnot, but she's clearly had enough exchanges with him to know that he's not necessarily, it's not as easy to just like say that that he's a vampire and leave it at that, you know, because obviously there's way more to Angel, and he's not walking around doing what normal vampires would be doing. So I understand like her viewpoint coming from like, I'm sure all the shit that she's read about him, given his history and how like fucked up it is. But to have such a consistent dynamic with him in present day, it would be really hard for him to maintain like, oh, I'm a good guy and I'm doing this. His whole job literally revolves around helping people. You know what I mean? So it's like, obviously he's not out here doing the worst possible thing as the rest of them would be. So I didn't really understand, because she knows a little bit more about him present day. I think that at least you should leverage it enough to have a conversation and be like, so what is the deal? Why are you different? How is it possible?
She's like, take a seat in the hallway. I'll stand at the door frame. We can talk a little bit, like just to get a little bit more content. Yeah. I think she's coming to her own conclusions and stuff. Because like, kind of like what you're saying, like we know Angel is good, and she's like right now at this point, I feel like not quite so sure. because she has just found out that like not only does he have this history that like this whole supernatural world exists, like vampires are real, essentially, you know what I mean? Not to mention to blame for countless murders that she can probably historically track, like that she's even seen possibly herself calling back to be like, oh, there's always these unexplained cases where people have like been drained of their blood in the city and stuff. Because I mean, she's a detective, she's had to have heard about this, you know what I mean? Like it's got to be dogged in some way, shape, or form. Vampires are out here killing people all the time. Angel's not
well,
slaying every
especially
single
if
one of
what's
them.
his name is coming back every 20 years to the same place, like some
So
way,
even
somehow
that has
you'd
been a
have to
pattern,
know
yeah.
about something.
But this has got to be happening on a daily basis or at least weekly basis, like unless like a lot of the vampires are like changing the other ones so that way they can show face and like be like, oh yeah, little Samantha's still alive. Like we saw her at the club the other night outside, but she only seems to come out at night now. We don't see much of her anymore or something, you know, weird stuff like that. That'd be a way of covering your tracks if you're a vampire. But I think it was interesting, like, because obviously she also has had this crush on Angel, and now she finds out like he's not only one of these horrifying creatures that she's found out about, but he's the source of creating this specific monster that's targeting people in the city again. Also with the same stuff that's going on through history, it's the same guy. Like it's probably a big slap in the face. She's like, this isn't a copycat, this is literally the same guy. He also lives for fucking ever because he's a fucking vampire. Like what do I do with this information? So I mean, I feel like I'd be on the fence too and probably act similar to her. But like for her, I don't think she knows if it's like an act or something, because she doesn't know Angel's history about the curse and things like that. That stuff's not docked. Like for what she could find out, like the Watchers Council is a whole other or different
that's
thing.
why I think it warrants a conversation, though. You know what I mean? Because obviously it's, if nothing else, looking at all the facts and figures that she even has, there's enough to say I'm missing pieces. There's holes in the story, you know? And I think only one person directly
now is the biggest one.
Yeah. Not to mention, we're coming off of a place from earlier in the episode. She trusts him enough, like we were talking about their dynamic, to like run license plates and let him into the room where they have all these like really sensitive information, like shit's hanging up on the wall. She throws all that shit out the window,
I feel like, a little bit.
You know, it's just like, so it's like you're coming from a place as a detective, especially, or as a cop, whatever, to where you're trusting this person with really sensitive information that you normally wouldn't let, especially someone outside of the force, have this information. Sure. So when you're doing that to quote unquote like a civilian, and you have that much trust in them just, I don't know, a day ago or whatever, and it's like, I feel like that within itself should create enough confusion to where you're like, I need to have a conversation, you know, and whether that's like in whatever ways that feels physically safe to you or not, to like make sure that you're not gonna have whatever happen that you might be worried about in dealing with a vampire. But I feel like it does warrant a conversation. So just to open the door, while I appreciate her delivery and I love her savagery and I love all of the things that she said because they are true, I feel like still there should have been a moment of pause where she's like, what is it that you need to tell me about yourself before I like
just come up with all the answers.
Exactly.
Yeah, she seems very reactive and upset, and like I don't get it. I think, like I said, it could be because she's burned a little bit. She's had a crush on this guy too, and she's finding out more information. Way more information than she planned. It's not just finding out this guy's been cheating on you or like these other things. I mean, they're not in a relationship. You get what I mean? Like something so like
no, she's disappointed.
Normal. This is not a normal explanation to things, and like finding out information about somebody. It's like the biggest spectrum being opened up. I think it's interesting to compare to like how they dealt with it on his self-titled Angel episode in Buffy season 1, whenever she found out he was a vampire for kissing him, and then like Giles does all that research and he's like, well, Angel was a vicious, or Angelus was a vicious evil monster and stuff like that, and they give some history drops and stuff, and they're like, around like the early 1900s he falls off the radar and he's not spoken of again, he lives alone and things like that. There's no crazy recorded history anymore. So they start trying to piece together answers, and eventually what happens, I mean, obviously we got Darla whispering in this bitch's ear and being like, kill the Slayer, kill her, she's out hunting for you right now, blah blah blah. But Angel ends up having that conversation at the Bronze. Even, I mean, she throws him out a window first. She gets misconstrued with like I said, Darla's pulling some strings all up in that one. But if she wasn't there, I feel like there would have been a conversation, which eventually did happen by the end of that episode. And then they were all on the same page moving forward, knowing like, oh, because that's all Angel needed to do is have that same conversation he had with Buffy and really anybody else to get his lore out there to be like, I have this curse. I was really evil, but now I'm here. And that's why I actively have been helping you, Kate, because I'm seeking redemption, like for the stuff that I've done, because I have a soul now. So that helps to explain why he is doing what he is, because that's what I was meaning in my comment.
Not to mention, she just watched him try to kill another one of his kind.
and protect her in the instance too.
Exactly.
She's off on
So
the
I'm just
wayside.
like, what would that mean? Like, clearly these two are just not, they don't have like high school beef going on to where they're about to murder each other. Like, he's only going to kill a vampire if he absolutely fucking has to, which is right now. And I don't know. It was just, I felt like there was so much room to question his motive, his intent, his all these things where, I don't know, to me, it would not have been quite as easy to just be like, fuck off, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I would have at least, because out of curiosity now I'm invested, you know. I'm like, I want to know what is going on here, because I'm not gonna be able to sleep at night. I'm not gonna be able to rest
You need
until
all the
I know.
answers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally. Well, that's interesting. I'll add more in a little bit. But back at the office, Cordelia, Wesley, and Angel continue digging through records connected to Penn's murders. Eventually, they discover that Penn repeatedly returns to the same location whenever he revisits the city. But following the trail, he and Wes arrive at the Cloverwood Apartments and begin searching through his old hiding place. Inside, they find newspaper clippings, crime scene photographs, and evidence of Penn's obsession with his own murders. And Angel's like, yep, called it. Among the material is information involving a school bus route planning to attack children, is the suspicion, and they believe he's finally changing his act. Or at least Wesley does, because, you know, they start to like go off on that path, but like clearly Angel doesn't believe much in it. At the station, Kate is briefing her officers about Penn, along with giving them pictures of Angel, a local private detective, as a lead and helping find him, believing their suspect will be in contact with him, possibly as next target. That was a smart way for her to bring Angel into the situation, you know, like basically saying we think he might be the guy's next target, even though necessarily that's not really the case. But I think she knows now that like she saw what she saw. So it's kind of interesting because like he's trying to breadcrumb them to say like, I'm after little kids on a bus now. And she's out here thinking that he might be after Angel, whereas like in reality, he's about to be after Kate. You know what I mean? Like none of them putting that into the context, especially herself. I'm like, oh, she thinks she's just chill. No, he's going to be coming after you, bitch.
That's what I meant to bring up. This bee for a cop had her full-blown apartment door unlocked in the nighttime. And she didn't even look through her peephole when Angel came to her door. And I'm like, for a cop at nighttime that just had
Did she not have her door open? Or like not?
She didn't have her door locked. She just walked over to her door and opened it like as if it was a bedroom door. And I was like, now for someone who's exposed to all of the crime in the city, all of it, like it's not just fed on the news to us. She knows every single fucking thing that goes on there, which is like, I would not be able to sleep at night and this bee just out here not locking her door and not checking her peephole before she just swings it wide open for whomever.
For real. I mean, obviously she's not scared. Like she knows she can defend herself if she got to because of what her training like comes into. But I'm about to say like,
she didn't have her gun on her hand.
We don't know. She does not. She probably got one real close. She thinks she can get to it fast. But I mean, what if somebody just opened fires on her? Like, what if little Tony got out of jail and he's the one standing at the damn door and he don't blow her face off?
I don't know. I don't know half the crime that goes on around me, and I'm not a cop, so I don't have as much anxiety not knowing these things. And like, I lock my door religiously right behind my. I cannot.
Even if I'm driving down the road, my car door is locked because people like to pull people out of cars.
As soon as I get in my car door is locked. As soon as my ass hits the seat, locked.
Yep, same. Same. At the station, Kate is briefing her officers about Penn, along with giving... Oh, I already said all that. Hold on. He's the next story. The briefing is interrupted, though, when Penn calls out in the room that the photo of him is a terrible likeness and begins attacking the cops who are ill-equipped to deal with him. I like that little cut because I didn't expect him to show up at the damn police department. That is a bold move, I will say, but obviously he's a vampire, so he's not worried about, like... Because what are they going to... First thing they're going to do is draw guns on his ass. Unless they...
And it's technically, I guess, considered a public place, so he can go in.
Exactly. But I like the shots of him moving fast, too, like kind of distorted visually, like to enhance the fact that the regular humans are taking on something supernatural. And we usually don't see that for vampires running on the show, but it's letting us know that this isn't your regular, like, person that you're dealing with. Visually, it's really nice to see. Kate on the ground has reached into her bag to try to retrieve her stake that she's now equipped herself with, but Penn grabs her and pulls her away and out of the building. Angel arrives with Wesley to the station as the cops are fleeing the scene to go after Kate. Angel, realizing Penn is here and also a sewer's manhole cover is dislodged and that Penn took her below into them. He like latches on really quick because Wesley's over here like, so what about the little kids on the bus? He's like, there are no damn little kids on the bus, bro. He got Kate. The fuck?
Wesley's so late.
Dumb. Down in the sewers, Penn taunts Kate, loving the intoxifying fear he's sensing in Kate, noting that also makes the blood sweeter. Kate voices that she's not afraid to die, and he informs that his goal is not to kill her, but when he's finished with her, Angel will, because, clearly intends to turn her. Angel arrives. Penn turns his attention toward him as Angel calls out his school bus full of kids bullshit, and Penn isn't surprised if he didn't fall for that. Kate reaches into her pocket and retrieves a small vial of holy water and splashes it onto Penn's face, scalding his flesh as he breaks away from her. It's given that little Buffy Summers moment where she made Kralik drink the holy water. I'm just like, she is armed. She's smart. Like, I'm glad Kate did this. She knows that this is real now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She's taken everything. She's done Learn Angel. She didn't invite him in just in case. Even if he's not bad. Like, what if he was Angelus again and he decides to go try to kill her? Like, first thing to do is go right up in her house because he's already been gained entry. But now she's like, we didn't see that part. We saw the steak was in her bag and she was going to get it. And now she's been carrying around a little bottle of holy water in her damn pocket. Like, I love to see it just on this show because so many people don't take action to do that. Everyone in Sunnydale should constantly have a fucking steak in their back pocket just in case. Or at least a box of toothpicks, something. Dual action shit. Like,
oh man,
Joyce could have talked about it in that gingerbread episode when she was giving that speech to everybody. Say, go ahead and grab like extra holy water. We're gonna start giving it out for free at the local churches. Like, no. Penn finally admits what all of this has really been about. For 200 years, he's been rebelling against the father who created him. His mortal father may have started that resentment, but Angel became the real focus of it too. Like, when he's talking, you look at his face and half of it's all red and it's got boils on it and shit. And I was like, damn, that happens that fast. Like, I would just figure it kind of scolded their flesh, but it's like gross looking. The two vampires launch into a final fight throughout the sewer. Kate notices a bunch of wooden debris and moves to grab a shard of wood. Penn attempted to lay her out, but is pulled back again by Angel. During the struggle, Penn eventually manages to pin Angel in front of him, restraining him as Kate looks on to them. She picks up the biggest fucking board too, which by the way doesn't have much of a point to it. It's kind of like rounded. It looks like a damn alligator's tip of their nose or some shit like that. I was just like, Kate, you better drive that through them. I was like, at least needs to be sharper than that. Come on now, girl. Because that's a big ass piece of wood. It's not like quite Kakistos, like Faith 5K per Slay on that ass, because I mean, she picked up the whole fucking beam and shoved it through his ass, and obviously she has Slayer power to back it. But I'm like, Kate, you been at the gym? Because how you about to shove that through two people?
I know, like a damn shish kebab.
Like, at least if it was going in a vampire, you might be able to get like 2 inches to get to the heart, because it's past the sternum. It's not that far to get to the heart. You got to go through all the way through Angel's torso to get to this motherfucker. So she ain't skipping arm day at the gym. I'm just saying. Angel gives her the opening that she needs, telling her to do it. And without hesitating, Kate thrusts the stake forward. It passes through Angel's torso and directly into Penn's heart. We get the 2K per Kate slay of Penn as he fades to dust behind Angel. Did you like that effect though? The fact that like she killed him through that? Like, did you think she was going to kill him too? Like with her like confusion in her mind or something?
I didn't know how she was going to get around that.
Yeah, but obviously the show can't go on without him, so we knew he was going to be safe. As Angel looks down at the stake still sticking through him, he remarks that Kate missed. Kate calmly replies that she didn't, and the horror on her face at the fact that she's like conceiving of what she just did. Not only did she like believe in vampires, she didn't know what happened to them after you stake them, and she just watched this guy dissolve into dust. So like, there's no way going back from this. You're a believer now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Angel falls to the ground after she rips it from him, and she takes a seat next to him, taking it all in. I was like, did y'all have more conversation right here, or y'all just like sit in silence? Like, now Angel's got his big ass gaping wound through his chest. Like, how long is that going to take to heal? Like, I don't know. Like, and the next scene, he's just on top of the rooftop with Cordelia. I'm like, bro, ain't you got a hole through your chest?
Chilling.
I mean, he's a vampire, so we know ain't nothing bad happened, but did you get stitched up? Like, are you bleeding still?
He instantly heals.
Before we get into that final scene, though, to talk like one last time really about Kate, like I think that was pretty big of her to not kill Angel as she said she would. She said, the next time I see you, like I'll kill you myself too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't let me run into you again type shit. So I would think that she was going to like stay true to her word, but she executes Penn instead. And I was like, why do you think like she chose to spare Angel within this mindset? If that was her take on it and that was her angle at the door, like why not go ahead and stick it through and get 2 birds, 1 stone?
Well, I think it's a lot about what you said earlier, too, that there's this additional layer of her having a crush on him, so there's like a little bit of an intimate connection there for her where it's not, I think, as easy just to dispose of him as she thought it would be. And maybe she was speaking more out of anger before, like maybe when he came to her apartment and she wasn't diffused enough, whatever, like she was just solely being reactive and speaking out of anger. And so now that the opportunity that she claimed to take care of has presented itself, it don't seem like she's taking care of Angel.
I mean, you're not wrong. I believe that, like, I think she's kind of at war with herself because she's only known Angel to do good since she's met him. So she's like kind of rationalized some of that stuff. And even though she knows all of this info, like, I don't think she's making the like that she feels she's making a decision at this time, but like more of a better judgment call. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the best way I could think of it. Is just like, okay, like, this guy's obviously done good stuff, and I know I said one thing, but now I'm gonna do another, which is my least favorite thing in the world. But like, I guess she just doesn't have enough there to say like I need to waste him. But it kind of gives this air that she's got this disgust for Angel and like her mindset now too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Later that night, Angel sits alone on the balcony outside his apartment. Cordelia joins him after receiving another one of those mind-splitting headache, I got this vein right here and that's what it's from, visions, and hands him a paper for a new task that they have. Reflecting on everything that's happened, Angel admits he's been wondering whether people or really anything ever changes. Cordelia reminds him that he has changed, that even though the demon with him resides, it's not him, that the powers that be sent that message to Angel, not Angelus, because they know there's a difference between the two. Angel agrees that people do change, but sometimes they change back, and if the day ever comes that I ... and Cordelia cuts him off with the fact that she will kill him dead, and he thanks her with a smile. After all, what are friends for? The two exit the rooftop and we fade to black. Here ends the episode. Super cute. Gotta love it. I like that, like the voice of reason that Cordelia is taking, because that's not normally Cordelia's stance either. So this is just like another little layer of like her, and she seems to be okay with the fact that she's got this vision. This is like, we didn't get to see the vision occur, and like, this is coming off one episode that she's had it. So this is probably her second vision that she's had since getting Doyle's gift and stuff. And she just simply brings Angel a paper and then talks him off, like, no pun intended, the ledge, because he's standing right there like, I'm about to hop off this thing. I'll kill me like this hole through my chest. But like, I like her words and they're convincing there. And that's why I kind of called back in the beginning of us talking about it and saying this is like really about Angel and him feeling kind of bad about like what he's done in the past and how it still shows up today. That probably is still a big fear for him of being like, I could possibly become Angelus again because of what my situation with my curse is. It could easily happen again. And I need security of knowing that, like, if that does happen, that same stream of like awfulness isn't going to occur again. And, you know, Cordelia secures him and that stuff too. But I was like, for her to like, I don't know, there's just like this bonding aspect to her specifically and Angel that's kind of occurring on the show in this way, for her to be this like voice of reason, kind of like how similar Buffy would be back, like even amends. She's trying to give him will to live and stuff like that. She's like there to okay this situation. And I really like Cordelia being in this position because someone has to say something like that, because otherwise he's just going to be, I mean, I don't think it would affect him that much, but it's nice to have her here for the aspect of it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, the aspect of themes and metaphor. Change is not permanent, and the fear that helps produce that. Throughout the series, Angel is working towards redemption, but this episode asks a question that's much harder to answer. What if the person you used to be never really goes away? The murders force Angel to confront the legacy of Angelus, not through memories, but through Penn, a vampire he personally created. Penn becomes a living reminder that our actions continue affecting the world long after we moved on from them, and Angel may no longer be Angelus, but the damage Angelus caused is still out there, still creating consequences centuries later. Penn also functions as a twisted son figure. He spent 200 years trying to rebel against his father, only to realize that Angelus became his true father the moment that he turned him. Their relationship turns this episode into a dark reflection on inheritance. Penn inherited Angelus's cruelty with his methods and even his need for approval. In many ways, he became exactly what Angel taught him to be. At the same time, Kate serves as the audience perspective as the illusion finally falls away. For 3 seasons across Buffy and Angel, we've known that vampires are real. Kate hasn't. The episode explores what happens when someone is forced to confront a truth they've spent their entire life rejecting. Not necessarily in that aspect, but we get why. Her struggle isn't simply accepting that monsters exist, it's accepting that someone she trusted is one of them. Ultimately, the episode argues that people are not defined solely by where they come from or what they've done. Penn believes a vampire can never change, that Angel will always be Angelus underneath it all, and Angel fears there may be some truth to that. But Cordelia offers the episode's answer in the final scene that people do change. The past may always be a part of us, but it doesn't have to be the whole story. And that's like adding that element on what I was just saying about Cordelia and stuff. Like Penn called that stuff out to Angel before he like hated on him about his little pin board and vision shit that he like but like he was calling it, he's like, you're not going to change, like you are still this like same creature, and brought up those things. And I think that like kind of invalidated the way Angel's been, what he's been seeking redemption for. It had to like be something that he reaffirmed. So again, I'm glad Cordelia came in to help him be like, okay, I am still doing the good work, and shit's just gonna happen. Like nothing in history is gonna stay sealed. And like honestly, like after this point, I would, if I were Angel, I'd be writing down, other than the fact like cleaning up loose ends, like going out here and trying to hunt down Spike and 𝐤𝐤𝐢𝐬 and get them out of the world. I'd be thinking back to any other people I did this with, or any other people I possibly turned over the years, or that Darla did, or that Spike did, or 𝐤𝐤𝐢𝐬, and I'd be, or loose ends demons that I was friends with that I know was out there killing people. I'd be taking all of them bitches out and create a hit list, because clearly, if you're trying to redempt yourself, you better start there. Don't start with today's problem. Start with the past and work your way forward. You better do one on one day and one on the other. Alternate. So let's alternate some Angel fun facts real quick before we get the fuck out of here. The script was originally going to be called The Killer I Created, or like the episode was going to be called The Killer I Created, until a detailed summary appeared online prompting Tim Minear to alter the title. He explains, I went on the Buffy message boards, changed the title, and said it was about dreams and about horrible things that you do in your sleep, which completely fooled the fans. That was just what it said, so I'll put it in there. After writing the first draft, Tim Minear had to rewrite parts of the script to accommodate Wesley's arrival and Doyle's departure. The final scene on the rooftop was originally between Angel and Doyle, which I did not know. I was like, oh, damn, so they didn't expect exactly to kill him, like I said, like to kill him off, and then they had to go back, because obviously they're probably plotting out like the timeline for like what episodes are going to come out and how they're working out on there. Alexis Denisof, aka Wesley, replaces Gwen Quinn here in the opening credit scene. So now Doyle is gone from them, and now Wesley replaces him. And the final one, despite the episode being broadcast in 2000, the date in the copyright credit reads 1999, as it was produced in that year. So still the 90s, sort of. As I've said it for 2 episodes now, we're not in the 90s anymore, and I'm sad.
Sad.
Not sad about our final slays, which we can now get into.
Final slays.
I need to think of one that's perfect for this episode. What do you think?
Final slays. Kate has PTSD.
I'll just leave you in here doing that for me. Perfect. Oh, shit. Final slays. I'm about to pump you for information on your quotes, your champion, your Wiggins, and that slay moment. All right. Let's pump you for your quotes.
My quotes. My first one is when Angel asked Courtney who she was talking to, right after she was talking to the chair, technically, and then Wesley when he came in, and she says, nobody, and Wesley.
That's my first one.
Because it's so accurate, and I'm
it's
like...
literally the chair of
and
nobody.
he just breezes right over it, too. Like, does not catch it at all. My next one is Cordelia saying, third body found in alley, so not exactly front page news. And Wesley saying, actually, that is the front page. Was that your next
That's
quote?
my second quote. Yep.
Stop.
I still got 2 more. If you don't say them.
I'm scared.
It's cool. It's saving us time. Keep going.
I'm scared. Okay, well, I only have one more anyway. So you'll at least have one that I don't have. Dead. Okay, so we already actually said it when we were covering the episode, but when Cordelia says to Wesley when Angel comes in saying that Wesley's right about him, and she says, you stake him and I'll cut his head off.
That one is pretty fucking cool. That was one of my favorites too. I didn't write that in my quotes, but that's just like a fucking awesome moment. The other 2 that I have are Cordelia when she's like, my glamorous LA life. I get to make the coffee and chain the boss to the bed. I'm just like, so. And then I put one in here from Penn where he's like, you're my real father, Angelus. And Angel's like, fine, you're grounded. That was funny. I was like, Angel, this is so fucking goofy. Like, it sounds like a damn dad joke, or like some kind of dad trying to like sound cool and shit. I'm like, no, that's not what's happening here.
I did almost put a quote of his in here when him and Angel were going back and forth, and he asked Angel, what happened to you? And Angel's like, people change, and he's like, we're not people.
That one is cool too. Yeah. Who'd you award your champion to this episode?
Kate.
Me too. You must have read all my notes. Stealing all my shit. I put it there for not killing Angel like she said she would, and getting her first 2K plus slay on the show. She handled the situation overall, coming to this info on like a whole new world that she didn't know about pretty well, and she did the damn things down to her research. I really liked this episode for all that little stuff. Like, I cared more about that stuff that was going on and how Kate was taking this in more than I cared about like the Penn problem that was going on and all that, because I knew Angel was gonna like absolve him of life. So like, you know.
Yeah.
Did you choose anything for your Wiggins? Because I left it blank because I wasn't quite sure that I had necessarily a Wiggins from this episode.
Yes, I did. And it went to Angel saying that he enjoyed his killing dreams.
That slayed to me. No, I'm just kidding. That slayed to me because it became an ad for Boho Lunica. Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, obviously, I could choose like something like impaling two people, like going through Angel's body, like sticking his blood all up into his damn side.
Weekly Wakes can also go to Kate not locking her doors or looking through her people.
That'll be mine. What slayed for you this episode?
Oh, when Angel grabbed Kate's cross to prove his point.
Nice. Mine was for Courtney paying attention and noticing that Penn was the vampire, pumping her for the info. And also got to shout out Kate, obviously, for that scene at the door with Angel. Just, it was harsh, as we said, but it kind of slayed because she didn't know any better and stuff. It was very, like, I liked it. I really liked what she said. And I was just like, ugh. Back in the day, I don't think I liked it as much, but I really liked it this time around. I was like, yeah, bitch. All right, Slayer at predictions. I have one before we get into the next episode title. Do you think Kate's going to accept Angel or move forward with him in a different way?
I'm leaning more toward acceptance, and she spared his life and didn't have to.
So you think they'll like get back on good terms and stuff again?
I don't know if it'll ever be like fully encompassed trust like it was at the beginning of this episode, you know, like normal or whatever. But I mean, maybe eventually. I do see her keeping him maybe more at an arm's length. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I do feel like she might be leaning toward more because she also did her research, like you said. You know, she like could have just shunned the idea altogether and said this isn't real and everyone's full of shit and I'm going to murder everybody.
Yes,
but she didn't, and she kept herself like open to the possibility of something that seems so very surreal to most people, and then, like I said, to spare his life when she definitely didn't have to, and it would have been in a way almost easier for her to kill him because then she wouldn't have had to be careful with what she was doing, you know, like so for her to be like methodical in that, and it shows that there's like at least a level of care enough to maybe accept how things are.
Well, there we are.
Yeah,
we'll see. Next episode, episode 12, is entitled Expecting.
Like pregnant.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I mean, I think that's what most people think of.
Or you're expecting someone to lock their damn door.
I am expecting that and look through your people. Okay, so someone's pregnant. Is Kate pregnant?
No.
Is Cordelia pregnant?
Maybe.
Oh hell. What? Anyway.
Strange stuff happens all the time.
Oh God, I'm scared now.
It's a filler episode and it's not like anything. I mean, I'm excited to watch it through this time for the podcast. It's one of those I just kind of watch and like go whatever about. I definitely know what the concept is and there's some really funny parts in it that I can remember. But I think it'll be an enjoyable episode, but it is kind of just like a get to the next one type thing. So
okay, gotcha.
That'll be cool. And we'll see what you think about it then. Thank you guys for joining us for our coverage of Somnambulist. Before we go, we'd love to hear your thoughts, obviously. What did you think of Kate finally learning that the supernatural world exists and that Angel is a vampire? Do you understand her decision to back away from him, or do you think that she's being unfair? And what do you think about this episode revealing about Angel himself? Is he afraid of becoming Angelus again, or is he afraid that no matter how much good he does, that he might not be able to outrun the damage that he caused in the past? I don't know. So we'll catch you guys, I guess, back all next week and head back into another Buffy episode. We'll be joined by a special guest to discuss that Giles-centric episode, A New Man. So until then, we'll talk to you guys next time.
I wonder if anything ever really changes.
Sure it does. They do. You have. They were just dreams, Angel. They weren't even your dreams. It didn't mean anything.
But I enjoyed it.
It'd probably be okay if you never mentioned that part ever again.
It's still in me, Cordelia.
Sure, it's in you. We all have something, but it's not the only thing that's in you. You're not him, Angel. Not anymore. The name I got in my vision, the message didn't come for Angelus. It came for you, Angel. And you have to trust that whoever the powers that be are, is. Anyway, they know the difference.
Yeah.
People really do change.
Yes, they do. Sometimes they change back. If the day ever comes that I...
Oh, I'll kill you dead.
Thanks.
What are friends for?
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Angel on Revamped. Be sure to join us next week for a new episode release as we continue the fight for redemption. We would love to hear from you, so share your thoughts and perspectives on this or previous week's episodes by following us on Instagram and sending us a DM at revamped_rewatch podcast or by emailing us at revampedrewatchpod@gmail.com.
And if you're interested in a world left behind, check out my show, Echoes of Elsewhere, an urban exploration podcast where I uncover the hidden mysteries of forgotten places, interview other explorers, and share with you my tips and tricks of the trade. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Until next time, remember, if nothing we do matters,
then all that matters is what we do.
This podcast is dedicated to the Buffyverse, to its fans, and my sister, Tiffany Dawn Pearson.